My entire life, I loved martial arts. I knew it was going to be something that was going to be a part of my life forever. After 9 years of training and commitment, I was ready to keep moving forward. I was actualizing my dream. But in my second MMA fight, I discovered a missing component that I had not even considered yet. So after winning my first fight decisively, they actually had a lot of trouble finding another opponent for me. The only challenger they found was a veteran fighter of over 30 professional fights and actually quite a few non-sanctioned fights. What is a non-sanctioned bout? Non-sanctioned is basically where there's no oversight or committee checking out the fight and having fight doctors, fair play amongst the gear and all the different things that are part and associated with the fight. Those types of elements are not there. Also, big thing is that rules are stripped down to their bare bones. And that means a ton of unacceptable rules in conventional MMA are completely legal and fair. So I took the fight, and right away I noticed a fatal flaw in his stand-up technique. I knew to give it one more breath, one more second, and see if I could take advantage of it. And bang, hit him with a straight right hand, just like an arrow, knocked him to the floor. I quickly swarmed him, dropped to a mount position, and was going for the coffin nail punches to the finish. My cornerman had not even gone to the corner to set his bucket down before turning and starting to walk back to the cage door, feeling like the fight was over. But furthest thing from the truth was the fight was over. My opponent, a veteran of non-sanctioned fights, reached up and poked me in the eye. So I immediately leapt to my feet, turned to the referee, telling him what just happened. Of course, the referee saw none of it, told me to fight on. At this point, my opponent started to regather himself, still not quite standing yet, saw this going on, took all the time he needed, and by the time I had heard "fight on" from the referee, he was right in my face, ready to fight. With nothing but pure anger. I had felt like I had been done unfairly, not only by my opponent, but also by the referee. I swarmed him. I went after him. I attacked him relentlessly. I put so much pressure on him. In the immediate moments afterwards, I had actually walked past several opportunities to end the fight. I was so caught up in the emotional side of things, of wanting some type of payback, when I let winning simply walk right past me each and every time. Round one, I am so emotionally out of control, I am considering fouling him. However, I am able to gather myself enough to recognize that I have him in the position for a guillotine choke. So I sink it in, and I start bearing down on that as hard and as intensely as I possibly can. I feel my opponent go limp. Instead of allowing the referee the opportunity to see my opponent about to pass out and stopping the fight, I instead have revenge on my mind. I place my hands on his shoulder as I'm standing over him, rear back, and throw a vicious knee to his chest. The referee, seeing that I might foul him by kneeing him to the head, an illegal technique, swarms in, grabs me, touches me, the universal sign to stop fighting, pulls me back, starts warning me, starts lecturing me to not foul him. Meanwhile, I am telling him my opponent is passed out behind him, sitting on the floor. Ding, ding, round over. Because I wasn't seeing clearly, my opponent was allowed to survive the round. So it's not bad enough that he fouled me and got away with it. But now that he survived defeat not once, but twice, And I'm allowing that to happen. So now my irrational behavior is starting to lead to agitation towards myself for losing control. Between rounds, my corner was properly trying to check in on me, but I wasn't hearing any of it. I was blocking it out and so focused on getting back to my opponent. After passing the doctor's check that quickly cleared the cage, I stood up, and that's when it happened. I started suffering from vertigo. I didn't realize how badly my eye had swollen to near shut. My eyelid, it was massive. When I started moving forward, all I saw was 360 degrees of white, like you were perpetually falling through white bed sheets. And then there's my opponent right in front of me, coming right at me. I had the wherewithal to understand I could not stand up and strike with him anymore. I needed to take this fight to the ground. I quickly took him to the ground, started attacking right away, and instead of setting up, I saw an opportunity for a quick finish. Starting to feel the clock ticking in my head of how much longer will my eye permit me to fight on. I went for an armbar. When I extended and fell backwards, the vertigo took over. I fell to the ground in what seemed like an eternity, like 20 minutes had passed, in dropping a few inches. When I hit the ground, I let go of the armbar, having the finish. My cornermen were befuddled. My teammates watching had no idea why I did it. And it was simply because I was completely getting lost. My opponent kept attacking, found new life, new opportunity, and kept pressing all the way to the end of that second round. Before round 3, in the corner, I finally admitted to my cornermen I was having vertigo, I couldn't see, I wasn't sure what to do. And they turned to me and asked me, "Do you want me to stop the fight?" That's when the floor fell out. And finally, I was able to actually refocus my mind and understand the severity of what was going on and dump all of the emotions I was planting into this already intense moment. I answered my cornerman with a quick and thunderous no. I stood up immediately. I set my sights back on attacking my opponent, but this time with strategy, with emotional control, and simply focused on what was important, winning the fight. I was actually able to hear my corner take their advice. They were calling for extra kicks. They were calling for extra punches, controlling at range. Thanks to that third round, I won the fight. But that's not why I'm telling this story. I'm telling this story because I had a greater understanding of self and growing and understanding that there is nothing without emotional growth, without having the ability to suppress those feelings, to turn them away, to understand they're just small moments. These are the lessons I try to teach all of my students, from the young ones to the adults. Emotional maturity is just as important as technical maturity in any skill set, strategic maturity towards knowing how to defeat any opponent. That has to help keep you in line to find your victory and find your growth. Don't get me wrong, we're competitors here too, and we cherish that opportunity to compete. But it never comes at the cost of our personal growth.